Hi, my name is ShuYuChen, and this is my lesson plan presentation. This lesson plan is for Year 9 Economics and Business. This lesson connects to the key learning area of economics and business. It's aligned with APST 1.5 and 5.1, which focus on meeting diverse learning needs and assess students' process. It's also linked to the Australian curriculum outcome ACHEK039 and ACHEK040 about global independence and managing financial risks. In my classroom, I will consider 3 different types of student diversity. This includes students who are learning English as additional language, and gifted students, and also students with learning difficulties. The topic of my class is exchange rate systems, floating versus paid. In this class, students will first learn to understand the meaning of the exchange rate. Then they will identify the 2 main systems. After that, students will compare the advantages and disadvantages of each system. Finally, they will apply this knowledge to a real-world case to see how the system works in practice. For the cross-curriculum priorities, my class relates to Asia and Australia's engagement with Asia. Also, the sustainability. For the general capabilities, this lesson depends students' literacy, numeracy, the critical and creative thinking, and the intercultural understanding. About my classroom management strategies. First, I will establish clear routines and expectations. Second, I will use positive reinforcement. Third, I will apply scaffolding strategies. Finally, I will design differentiated group work and peer support. On this slide, I will explain the learning intentions and success criteria for the license. First, students are expected to understand what exchange rates are and how they are measured. Second, students should be able to distinguish between floating and paid exchange rate system. Third, students will explore the real-life impact of exchange rates. Fourth, students will develop skills to read and interpret graphs. Finally, students will be able to apply their knowledge in scenario-based tasks. For my lesson plan, the introduction part will take 10 minutes. The learning activities of my lesson will be shown as follows. I will greet the class first, and then I will cite the clear expectations. I will use the icebreaker question as, have you ever traveled abroad and used another currency? Students will give 3 minutes for a small group discussion and share their own understanding of the exchange rate. After that, I will summarize students' idea and then give a formal definition as exchange rate is the price of one currency in terms of another. For the differentiated students, English as additional language learners will use the simplified and bilingual vocabulary lists, and the gift students will ask deeper questions. The learning difficult students will provide extra scaffolding, break tasks into steps, but all the students will work in a mixed ability group. I will use cooperative learning and group discussion, teacher scaffolding as my teaching strategies, and real-world examples as my teaching resource. For the body part of my license, I will take 20 minutes. The learning activities are shown step by step as follows. First, I will briefly explain 2 main exchange rate systems. After that, students will be required to read a material about the definitions and how each system works. After that, teacher will show the examples and the charts about those 2 different exchange rate systems. And students need to have a group discussion about what are the advantages and the disadvantages of each system. Each group need to write 3 points on the board. The teacher will summarize their opinions and then give the right answer. The English as additional language learners will still have the bilingual materials. The students with learning difficulties will still have the shortened reading materials and add visual aids. For the gifted students, they will have scenario-based dictation tasks, and they will be asked to output their analyze in a written way. The resources of these parts, including exchange rate charts, reading materials, real-world examples, and the teaching strategies, are cooperative learning. The conclusion part of my lesson will take 10 minutes. For the learning activities, I will review the definition and summarize the advantages and the disadvantages with the real-world examples. Students will free to ask any questions about this class. After that, I will assign the homework, and the gifted students will receive the extension task for deeper thinking. As what I mentioned earlier, the English as additional language learners will still have the bilingual materials. Students with learning difficulties will have simplified notes with visuals, and the gifted students will receive additional homework. In this lesson, assessment and feedback will be carried out at 3 levels. First is the peer feedback. Second is the teacher feedback. Third is the homework feedback. Thank you for listening, and all the references I used are shown in the right side.